Hey everybody on the Pro Forum, talking to you again. So here's one of the things that was asked of me to talk about, and so let's talk about it, is the Canon flash on camera. Where does the technique come from? Why do I do it? Explain the technique. Okay, first of all, I don't have a camera with me, I don't have a flash with me, but it's not rocket science. The flash, the Canon flash, is literally right on top of the camera, right on the hot shoe, and the flash is pointed directly at the subject. No modifier, no softening, no anything, right at it. And the technique on Canon, this is not applied to Nikon. We'll talk about Nikon in a minute. The Canon camera, the Canon flash, excuse me, is physically set to -1 1/3. It's set to ETTL, which means that it is set so that it is literally, electronically handling everything. It's making all decisions. The next thing is the camera is set to the dot with the circle in it, which is the standard matrix, the way it ships. Your camera, I have my camera physically set to 5400K, and I shoot in RAW mode and make any color adjustments from there. The whole technique, basically, all it does is it lightens up the shadow, some of the dark shadow areas underneath in here and underneath in here. It does put an undesirable white dot right down the middle of the eyes that I take out in Photoshop using a black pen. Done. That is the one undesirable of this whole thing. But what it does is I find is it evens out the color and makes everything a little bit more consistent. This is just my observations. The Canon system, the ETTL system on the Canon, will completely run the entire show for you. You don't have to do anything, no thinking. Now you do have to look for good light. You cannot just willy-nilly go out anywhere and just go click, 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 and think you're going to end up with good photography. You're not. You still have to look for good light. So I look for overhangs, for shadow, directional light, overhangs that stop downward blocking of light, things of this sort. I try to find all those types of things. Then I use sometimes a bit of a reflector underneath to punch a little light up. Sometimes I'll use the reflector to block that light coming straight down. I'll sometimes use a reflector behind the subject, adding a little bit of sheen into the hair, little things like that. So that's how the technique works. It all came about, somebody on the Pro Forum, Ken, I believe was his name, Ken Long, a long time ago, who has since passed away, told me about this. He says it's going to blow you away at how good of a job this does. And I was completely blown away. And the question is, do I still use it to this day? And the answer is yes. I still, to this day, still use the flash directly on the camera, and I use this technique, and I get phenomenal results. That's why I keep doing it. The results are just so good. Sometimes I've had some battery problems where I've not had a flash or forgot to change the batteries and just did it without, and I just don't like the results. It's just not as good. I have to work a little harder with the reflector. I have to look a little bit harder for directional lighting. I have to be a little bit more precise, as opposed to with this flash. I can be a little bit faster, a little bit, forgive me, sloppier, and end up with really, really good results. So that is how the technique came into being, and yes, it still works. For all the Nikon users out there, I have found that you have to use your flash in ETTL mode, but you have to add an extra stop. So go to like -2 1/3, and while it's not the same, it is close. So that's the best I can do as far as the Nikon users. And other camera systems out there you would have to test. So that's how it works. That's what it is. The ultimate question was, am I still doing it? And the answer is, yes, I am still doing it, and it still does work. So there you go. I hope that helps. Talk to y'all tomorrow. Take care. Bye.